Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to the Revenge of the Sith commentary. I do apologize for the lengthy absence. It's been a very busy summer, and my scheduling has been a little bit buggery. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Yeah, as you can kind of see at this point, they've skipped large swaths of the movie, mainly because there wasn't really a feasible way to make a good beat-em-up level out of Anakin flirting with Padme, or talking to Obi-Wan about what's ostensibly the last time they're going to be seeing each other before, you know, the big blow-up at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Well, end of the movie, I should say. So, I mean, really, there's I don't know. Anyway, get ready for one of the most boring levels in the game. Well, yeah, I think it is fair to say that this is the most boring level in the game. Not that it's necessarily bad to play or anything like that, it's just a section of the movie where not much of anything is happening, because, again, even though it skipped over large spots of what was going on, Obi-Wan's pretty much sent to Utapau to, you know, stop General Grievous for good. But the problem is, this is the point of the movie where he's pretty much, well, intended to be sneaking on, although considering what's going on here, how exactly is he sneaking aboard, like, the Separatist facility without anybody noticing? Like, I mean, the droids do call for reinforcements, so you would have thought one of them would have informed the fucking Viceroy or General Grievous that, you know, there's a Jedi here, we need help. I don't know, like, I mean, this is probably one of the bigger examples of gameplay for gameplay's sake, rather than any sort of context or interesting moment. Then again, there was a massive part of Revenge of the Sith, which was mainly a little bit more plot action scene. I mean, I will say in the movie's defense that it is paced a lot better than Episode 1 and 2, but, yeah, you can tell that they're kind of stretching the content, and also part of the reason why I don't to my knowledge, except I think for maybe like a GBA title, there was no Attack of the Clones game. Unless, of course, you count the, I think it was just called Star Wars Clone Wars. It was like a 2002, like, I can't remember what it was. A friend of mine had the game once a long time ago, but I think you got to play as Mace Windu in that one. Or, like, maybe one of the clone troopers and you frequently interacted with him. I don't know, I'm struggling to remember because there was a great deal of Star Wars games released in the 2000s. Like, I mean, I will say, a lot of people missed out, man. The 2000s were a wonderful time to be a Star Wars fan. Anyway, we have new enemies. Basically more advanced versions of the grapple droids. They have shockwave attacks, they will launch out that little projectile that you can see there. And of course, well, they're pretty much our beefy enemies, so take them on. And again, that was the Force Stun ability. Again, I know it has technical names, like, I mean, there's like Stun Droid, Destroy Droid, and all that kind of stuff. But again, this is pretty much your ability. Again, for the Jedis, it's more passive, and you can just stop them in their tracks. Which I would say is a little bit more useful, except when you happen to be taking on Jedi opponents, because obviously they have the Force, and they can block it as such. Whereas if you're playing a more Sith-focused character, you get the infamous power that is Force Lightning, and it is glorious! I think in the, because Revenge of the Sith, though, I think also did have a, was it a DS, or was it a Game Boy Advance port? I think it might have been a DS, but I think there was also like a Force Choke ability that was utterly broken in that version. But, yeah, no such ability here, so, unfortunately, no, Anakin cannot choke a bitch, which is saddening, except if your name happens to be Padme. And if you are just sitting there thinking that I'm just trying to pad out for time, you're right, it's bugger all going on. Like, I mean, there's not much interaction, really. Like, I mean, aside from one set piece, there's bugger all going on. So I suppose I might as well talk more about personal life things, at least very briefly, because, again, I do apologize once again for not releasing Revenge of the Sith out on time. Again, I started this commentary very spur of the moment after the Burning Rangers review, but yeah, no excuse really, but again, I've been kind of swamped with work, and given the scheduling that I have, actually just today, now that I've checked my roster, it's pretty much the equivalent of a full-time job, really, so, yeah, I think for the rest of summer, I'm probably gonna be pretty jam-packed, so, yeah, aside from scripting and a few other things, and reviews, and, well, I mean, I am gonna dot things out with a few commentaries here and there, because, again, whenever I get home, I always do at least make sure to get at least some of my recording duties done, or at least trying to, you know, be some form of productive, but yeah, it's been severely lacking, and given how stellar the year started, well, 2022 is probably going to be more of the same, really, if not probably even less productive, which is quite a negative note to end on, but hey. But I mean, in terms of positive things at the very least, though, again, since this commentary kind of inspired it out of me, yeah, I did actually decide to go back and rewatch Revenge of the Sith as a movie, and I gotta say, it held up a lot better than I remembered it being. Like, I mean, Revenge of the Sith is still my number 2 spot for the best Star Wars movie in my eyes. Like, I mean, again, nothing's gonna knock Empire Strikes Back off its pedestal, no matter what, really, but Revenge of the Sith I loved actually quite a lot. It was paced really well, and even though there were some deleted scenes that I was actually looking at quite a bit earlier today that I think would have made the movie a little bit better, at least in terms of pacing, like, I mean, it's just a really fun movie to watch. Well, I say really fun movie, but it's also meant to be, the darkest one in the series, given the fact that, you see Anakin burning to death, you see a lot of Jedi die, you see kids murdered. Fun, fun, fun. Oh yeah, if you double tap the analog stick forward, you can actually use your little force speed move. Although, that being said though, that does significantly drain your force powers, so just be careful, but you do kind of need it for this upcoming segment, so stay tuned. And creative use of the force. The best thing about this stage though, compared to anything else, is that again, you can knock enemies off, which it does deal with them a little bit easier, especially when you have force push at your disposal. But yeah, well, I mean, I suppose the environment's nice. I mean, I always did kind of like Utapau for its very technological but vegetative kind of atmosphere. I mean, say what you will about George Lucas, but I mean, one of the things that I do really love about his Star Wars movies is that he often made sure to make sure that each planet, like, if it was always going to be something new. Like, I mean, there was always going to be a new environment, or if it was going to be something similar, there would be differences to it. Like how in Episode 1, like, I mean, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan don't go to Mos Eisley, they go to Mos Espa, which is the prequel town where they got Anakin from. I don't know, like, I mean, it's really good world building, and it's something that I think every successful franchise at least has a good grasp on. Well, I mean, I say successful, but I mean, profitable, if that makes any sense, because people do love digging into, like, stuff. I mean, obviously, you're gonna make it interesting, you need to have a good story and characters and whatever, but people like to dig into stuff, and, when they get interested in stuff, they just like to stuff their faces with mythology and lore. I've kind of forgot what I was saying, but the point is, Roger. Yeah, there's really nothing here. Except with more secret and bacta tanks. But anyway, back to Revenge of the Sith. As a film, I like it. I thought I had more to say on that, but I don't. Well, I mean, I suppose if I could think about Utapau and what they cut out of the movie, one thing I probably would have liked to have seen a little bit more of was maybe the local populace, like with that Count Orlok-looking dude who was who showed up and met Obi-Wan. Not that you saw in the game's cutscenes, of course, but in the movie, the guy who was like, 10th level, thousands of battle droids. I don't know, it would have been cool, because, like, I mean, it sounded as if they had, like, a local militia ready to go, and I think maybe, like, them teaming up with Obi-Wan to infiltrate the facility probably would have been cool to see. Like, I mean, you, again, would have given something unique to the game. And again, as we saw earlier with, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan helping the battleship, it's not as if this game is afraid of deviations. I mean, hell, given this, why is nobody alerted to this? They've even got a giant fuck-off turret shooting at them, so I don't know. But yeah, basically now you have to run away, and you also get to take control of a cannon, like that. But yeah, this is pretty much exciting set piece go now. Anyway, I mean, after Revenge of the Sith, obviously, I did decide to watch a bunch of the other Star Wars movies just for the sake of, nostalgia, and I guess also for the fact of, it's summer, might as well have something to entertain me as I return home from work, a dreary soul. And I suppose I might as well talk about some of them as well. At the very least, some of the memories, because, yeah, me and this franchise kind of go way back, and by way back, I mean, the video release of Episode 2 back in, actually, yeah, I think it was the year it came out, like 2002, so, oh boy, that was, going back quite some ways. I remember on those video VHS releases specifically, like, they used to have those, like, very lengthy George Lucas interviews before them, as well as, like, yeah, I think it was also, like, a few other featurettes, like, that talked about the original trilogy, which is how I pretty much got introduced to the rest of them. I mean, again, I did mention beforehand that I did see Revenge of the Sith in cinemas, but before this point, I pretty much went out of my way to get all the videotapes or like the very early DVD releases. I seem to remember like getting the I think it was like a box set of the original trilogy right before I saw Revenge of the Sith as well. But again, so yeah, I didn't get to see the original theatrical cuts, obviously, since I wasn't born back in the 70s and 80s, but yeah, they were quite nice. I mean, the special editions I don't think were really too bad. It was just sort of, you know, minute changes that didn't really bother me, except for one, and I think that would be the replacement of the replacement of Sebastian Shaw as Hayden Christensen, which is the one change I will complain about, apart from the Greedo shooting Han thing. Not necessarily because of the Han shot first or whatever, it's mainly just because of the fact that Han Solo does this like little, "What is love? Baby don't hurt me, baby don't hurt me, no more." You know, like he's, you know, like when he pivots his head out of the way like he's doing an Egyptian dance. I don't know. But anyway, the gun turret is now silenced, and now we can take control of the power of the fusion cannon. Yes. And this won't be the last time you'll be taking control of a gun turret? That was a bit nutty. No, this won't be the last time you'll be taking control of a gun turret. I mean, even though we're just pretty much just using it, yeah, they also have their own separate health bar, and they don't do the Ratchet & Clank 3 thing of having your health bar, like, be in the center and just progressively go into the middle for some reason. I have no idea. But again, like, I mean, you shouldn't lose this too bad. I mean, there is one section later in the game which can get a little bit hairy, but, yeah, that's way later in the game, and a section far more interesting than what we're seeing right here. But basically, just take out the shield generator, bada bing, you do the thing, and we can finally move on to something slightly more interesting. Yeah, you have a power shot, you have a regular blast shot, and you just... well, you're gonna make sure that it doesn't overheat. Because, of course, every game in this era had a get to the turret section because... I don't know, maybe it was popular. Whatever. This boss fight is a pain in the ass. I had so much fucking trouble in this when I was a kid, and to be honest, I still kinda have trouble with it now, which is the absolute antithesis of what it was in the movie, because, I mean, in Revenge of the Sith, like, you see this thing during the Utapau battle, right shortly before Order 66 was issued, and again, like, you see a clone trooper run, like, dick first into it, shoot his gun right down in its head, and it pretty much dies instantly. Whereas here, this thing has bloody, like... it's basically the equivalent of Phantom from Devil May Cry. Like, this thing is... ugh. Oh god, well, I mean, that chain damage obviously isn't anything to scoff at either, but still. I mean, again, you do jump on its head and try and slash at it, which is the most efficient way of dealing some damage towards it, but... it's very tedious, so, you're gonna be here for a fair bit. I don't know, it's a living. But again, this is also where you make the most efficient use out of your grapple moves, but again, it just... it can be a snoozer, but at the same time, also getting to the thing is a pain in the ass. I am thankful that you don't have to use this method. I mean, you can just continue slashing at it with your lightsaber if you so choose, but... it's got a lot of annoying attacks that continue to push you back, and especially this giant fuck-off laser attack, which, thankfully you can stop, but Jesus Christ, that was the bane of, many of my childhood sessions, and... well, it sucked. So, it's how the cookie crumbles, really. Come on, let's finish this thing off. We got to do it before dinner, otherwise the Separatists will be like, oh no, Obi-Wan's coming to fuck our day up again. I don't know why I'm talking like that, but maybe it's just because I'm bored.
Hello there.
I just wanted to stay silent for that line, because the meme. And I have no idea why Obi-Wan decided to pretty much just go full-on Leroy Jenkins down there, especially given the fact that he was shortly surrounded by droids and probably thought that this was a bad idea. That was a completely bad idea. Also, I have literally no idea how the hell, like, we transitioned from that scene to this, because, I mean, like, General Grievous is there, but now he's, like, completely fucked off. So, really, what's going on? Well, I mean, an excuse to fight droids. I mean, in the movie, he kind of dealt with them pretty swiftly. Like, I mean, he put out his lightsaber, but then he used the Force to crush them and immediately slash them. I don't know, I guess maybe they want to... Well, I mean, obviously, they're saving Grievous for his own specific boss battle. But even that, in and of itself, was kind of cut in half, which is a bit disappointing. It's the clones! They're here to save the day, and not really do much of anything of consequence. I don't even know if they actually, like, hurt enemies. I'm gonna assume they do, but I really don't know for certain. The point is they're here, and unfortunately, no, you don't get the dulcet tones of Tamura Morrison, nor even D. Bradley Baker, so again, hearing their voices here is like... It's a bit of an oddity to my ears, because I'm so used to hearing either Tamura Morrison or D. Bradley Baker's attempt at their voices, which I don't know, it's it's bizarre to my ears, man. But anyway, the battle can now begin in full swing, and as you can probably tell, this is pretty much going to be a two-parter. Mainly because of the fact that I do have a few extra things that I want to show off in the next part, and in regards to Utapau itself. But at the same time, also, little segment, well again, pretty much just finishing the level good and proper. Yes, we're also going to be tackling a few of the secret missions along with the parts, so yeah, that's pretty much what I decided to do. As I believe I brought up a couple of parts ago, but you'll see what that is later on. As for what's going on right now, really, it's just a Spartan battle reel. Just slashing things, kicking them around, talking about our day, showing these battle droids what's what. Yep, you can do it, clone troopers. I believe in you. Kind of. Slash, slash, slash. Can you tell I don't have anything to bloody say? Well, I mean, there is something coming up, thankfully, a cutscene, which is basically just a little bit more mission-specific context for what we're doing, but it's not too interesting. It's pretty much just, pish of the highest order. So, let's just get this bloody shit over with.
Commander Cody, this is General Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you copy?
Loud and clear, sir.
General Grievous has escaped. I need you to lock onto his signal and track him for me.
Understood, sir. Beginning signal scan. Sir, taking fire.
I'll take care of those cannons. You concentrate on finding Grievous.
And so our plot is arbitrarily extended.
General Kenobi, we're taking heavy fire out here.
I mean, really, it's just, not really much to say here. Like, I mean, I think part of the reason why it doesn't seem as interesting to me as perhaps it otherwise would is that we don't really get much context on Utapau from an emotional standpoint, because, like, I mean, this is pretty much just an excuse to get Obi-Wan away from Anakin. And, well, again, I mean, this point in the movie is pretty much just gets the most important characters out of Coruscant, because otherwise they would have been slaughtered by the Emperor and Vader. So, yeah, there's not really much of anything going on. I mean, this is admittedly an area where the Clone Wars TV series actually kind of succeeded, because again, they usually had their episode story arcs, you know, literally about the planets that they're going to and interacting with characters that you can get invested in. Whereas, I mean, Revenge of the Sith itself is more about, you know, the conclusion part of the prequel trilogy. But again, Utapau and the Kashyyyk really... Well, again, not that you visit Kashyyyk anyway, although that would have been a much more preferable level to this. Yeah, when you're going to Utapau, there's bugger all anything, really. So again, you're pretty much just doing Jedi Clone Wars stuff just for the sake of itself without any real reason as to why you should care. I mean, obviously you're saving the inhabitants, but God fucking knows when you're going to be seeing them. And I mean, in terms of, like, missions, it's okay when you're playing it, but it's just not very... I mean, it's fun for very unexciting reasons. Like, I mean, it's fun because you're beating up battle droids, you're having fun slashing a power generator to destroy the broadband shield generator, which I don't think is how that works.
Sensors read 1
But yeah, you know, you also have to wait for your force to recharge, because apparently Obi-Wan can't just, like, hang off the ledge and drop down. I mean, what is he? He's not an old fuck yet. He hasn't spent, like, 4 years on Tatooine and immediately grown an old age beard.
Sensors read one cannon disabled.
My legs! But yeah, it's pretty much just slashing droids, slashing people, slashing the guitarist, slashing the fanfiction, slashing lightsabers. Yeah, another annoying facet about these droids in particular as well is that, again, they tend to get very block-heavy, which, I mean, again, is understandable because, again, they're meant to be the mid-level enemies that, you know, you can't just take down in a few slashes, but, gets annoying. I just want you to die faster. Well, actually, that does actually kind of bring me back to a bit of trivia for Star Wars Dark Forces, actually. And part of the reason why I think Lucas usually tended to go for, like, very, what's the right turn of phrase for it? Anonymously evil? Like, I mean, again, you'll notice that a lot of the enemies that are slashed up by the good guys in Star Wars are usually either faceless goons or, like, robots or whatever. And, yeah, apparently, like, I mean, in Dark Forces, when you were shown, like, shooting Imperial, like, officers and all that kind of stuff, yeah, apparently George Lucas didn't like that very much, because, it's like killing people. I don't know, it's like a really interesting philosophy, because, like, I mean, you don't really think about, like, you know, the rebels or whatever killing, like, Imperial stormtroopers or whatever, because, I mean, there are people beneath those helmets. And, yeah, it's quite odd. And again, I suppose the fact that the clone troopers are also massacred later on doesn't really matter, because they're clones of Jango Fett. Even though they did kind of try to humanize them in later on, so what's really what here? I really don't know what to say, but on that note, I am Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on the Revenge of the Sith commentary, well, we're gonna be in for a few surprises, and we're gonna take down General Grievous. Bye-bye.
Activate emergency defense shields. Broadband lockdown activated. All levels secured.
Ray shields. This just keeps getting better.
Sir, the shields have blocked our reinforcements. Disable them and we'll have clear access to the entire stronghold.
Good. Where?
Down there. Good luck, sir.
Luck. In my experience, there's no such thing.